I think we need to start by discussing the Bonneville flood again because it was so important to the Snake River Valley's geology. Around 25,000 years ago, the Bear River, which is on the upper right of the map, used to flow north into the Snake River and then out to the Columbia River and out to sea. About that time, a huge volcano in that area caused a lava flow which blocked the river and forced it south toward the Great Salt Lake. That whole area, that area of the west, is called the Great Basin, and that just refers to that there's no outgoing rivers. All water that flows in there only leaves by evaporation. So, with the Bear River, which is a large river flowing south into that area, it caused Lake Bonneville to expand, and it got to be over 20,000 square miles, all the way from Nevada to Wyoming. It got so large that it eventually found a weak spot where the rock was fractured and erodible around Red Rock Pass, where I put an X on the map on the top. When that area failed, a huge flood occurred with almost all the water draining from Lake Bonneville in around the 2-week period. Supposedly a 350-foot high wall of water rushed north down the Snake River Canyon, going like 70 miles an hour, and you can imagine the amount of erosion and devastation. It's particularly evident around the Twin Falls area. So that's where we'll start. This is the Snake River Canyon at Twin Falls, looking at the north rim. Since the Bonneville flood came in from the north, it eroded the topsoil away on that side. Therefore, all the agriculture with the aid of irrigation is on the southern end of the Snake River. Shoshone Falls, the Niagara of the West. It's 212 feet high and 950 feet wide. This time of year, the water level is relatively low. Those rocks on the right would be completely covered in water in the spring. The falls have a lot of interest in wanting the water. There's irrigation. They have a dam up north of the falls here for irrigation. They use it for hydroelectric power and, of course, tourism. Another cool fact of this area is that this is as far as the salmon could make it. They would come up the Columbia River and all the way up the Snake River up to this point, and these falls stop. So the steelhead and the salmon were fished pretty heavily by the Native Americans at this point. Shoshone Falls, Twin Falls, Idaho.
Pretty impressive. It's a Snake River. That's a lot of water.
Native Americans inhabited this area for thousands of years, but when the Lewis and Clark expedition came through in 1805, the Shoshone, Paiute nations were in this area. I used to call them Shoshone, but in this area they call them Shoshone, so they must know better. Anyway, also in around 1840, the Oregon Trail came through near this area, which brought a lot of settlers. And then, of course, in the 1860s, gold was discovered, so that opened the floodgates.
I have a beautiful park, and at night they have a light show. Like these spotlights shoot different colored lights out over the falls. Probably music goes along with it. Pretty nice. I'm really impressed with Twin Falls. Kind of looks like Logan, Utah. Everything's new and beautiful homes. Everything's manicured nicely. They look pretty prosperous.
The evening sun on the south rim of the canyon highlights some of the layers in the formation of the canyon. The lower layer, which I labeled number 1, was formed about 8 million years ago when this area was over the Yellowstone hotspot, which caused massive volcanic activity, and it produced a thicker, more silicon-rich lava called rhyolite, which is stronger than basalt. Anyway, it was the original rock in this area. The second layer, number 2 on the picture, is called breccia, and that's basically busted up, weathered layer number 1. So the mountains in that area were eroded down, and due to pressure and temperature, that rock kind of fused and formed that conglomerate called breccia. The top layer is our good old friend, the basalt layer, which started about 2 million years ago and as recent as 2,000 years. So it has a long, long history.
Not a bad little spot. Man. Well, I got up at 2 o'clock a.m. in Ohio, and now it is 9:15. There we go, 9:15. Still not used to this thing. 9:15 in Twin Falls, Idaho. So that's really 11:15. So I'm starting to run out of gas. I did have a bowl of cereal and a burger. There we go again. Not real sure why that happens, but anyway, time for dinner. Okay, this bridge in Twin Falls is used for base jumping. Apparently, I just missed it. The two guys jumped off and they're down there. If I can spot them. There they are. There's a little target there that they aim for. But jump off the bridge, land in the valley. But this baby's like 400 feet deep. And you can see where the lava has built up over the years. That's the one thing about these lava flows in this area. The lava always heads to the low point due to gravity, just like water. So the rivers and the lava are always battling for ground, and the lava always wins. So the lava comes over the rim, goes down in the water, forms pillar lavas and a yellow residue called plagonite. I'll see if I can find an example in a little bit. 400 feet cliff here. What's that I see? Looks like a golf course. Aha. Here's another good example of the pillar lava. You can see very well, but it's got an outer crust. It's kind of shiny and hard. And this is the inner core. And then the outer area where the water was forms that plagonite. I think that's a kayaker or a boater of some sort. It's too small for me to see with the naked eye. But I can see the golf course. Looks like a nice one too. This present-day golf course was the original location of the first farm in the area, around 1900. Ira Perrine was a
entrepreneur. He started the farm there due to the water, but he also dammed up the Snake River and provided irrigation for like 360,000 acres and 1,100 miles of canals in the area. So he was a pretty industrious guy. Okay, this is the Perrine Bridge over the Snake River. Down there's our kayaker guy. He's going behind the pole. Anyway, this bridge is famous for its height, but also its minimalism. So, not a lot of materials. I'm not sure how comforting that is when you're going over it, but it's famous.